As the audio is down, you're live. So that's where the end stream is, obviously. But then checking over here, refresh this.
This one?
Yeah, is there a way of keeping open?
Yeah, they're on the right there. Because we have some door stop.
Click unlock.
For real, it's like for real long, yeah. Open meeting.
Should catch it.
Open the door. All right, sorry about that.
You know what we might have to do? I think YouTube might have had to be on live first. I'll do something different next time, but for this, you don't have to know what I'm doing here, but stream event.
Whatever happens in the fall.
Immediately.
All right, you guys ready?
Chip, just give me like 1 second.
Oh, see?
You just strolled in.
I know.
This is a new system we're doing here, so it's. Record event. Immediately. Oh, 4. Don't worry about this stuff. I'll have to set this up differently for the next meeting. All right, streaming and recording. All right, so now, yeah, just throw the headphones on, and once he's gonna start, kick up the audio and start recording on there too, on the camera too. Did it kick on? Sometimes this button
It's really
doesn't.
busy over there. It's a genius. It's a
Is
genius.
it not? Sometimes it doesn't. Yeah, just do it from. Sometimes that button doesn't always. Chip or good, whatever. Kick him
Oh,
up.
really? Okay, we good? The links that we're good.
Great.
Okay, call the school committee meeting to order for June 28th, 2022. The first order of business, the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We did it. We got 2 people here. We've achieved our goal of a potentially, well, who knows? We'll see what's going to be said, but it seems like it's a different meeting than we've had in the past. So, okay. So, moving on with our regular agenda, we do our consent calendar, pages 1 through 3, which are approval of minutes and our calendar. Is there a motion for our consent calendar?
Make a motion to approve the consent calendar.
Motion made and seconded. And second, any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. So going forward with our schedule for the summertime, typically we just meet once in July and once in August. So right now, those are scheduled for July 19th, which is my birthday. So don't feel pressure to bring something, but if you do, it's, as long as it's under $50 according to the ethics. I took my ethics test today. So July 19th is Tuesday, and then Tuesday, August 23rd. If for some reason, something comes up where we have to meet in the meantime, we'll do that, but that is our summer schedule. And then Monday, August 29th will be orientation day, and August 30th will be professional development, and we move over into school. So reasons people are coming back to school. So that was our calendar for the next couple months. And you see your agenda on page 20 there. Going on to new business, our Chambers Street Board Building Committee appointment. So to reorganize the committee, we need to take a vote. Dr. Tiano, who will be taking over July 1st as superintendent, will be sitting on that committee. So this board needs to take a vote to officially add him to the building committee. And then we have not heard about FinCom yet, have we, Sue? Okay. So tonight we'll just be taking a vote to appoint Dr. Tiano to that board. So, any discussion or motion?
I'll make a motion to appoint Dr. Tiana to the building committee for Thursday.
Motion made. Is there a second? Second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye. Motion carries unanimously. And then speaking of that committee, so I know you guys met last Thursday, the building committee, and we have received a few emails just from staff and around those questions. So I know, Sarah, you said the committee, and so Lisa, you were there as well too. So it would be great if you could provide us with an update, please.
Sure. So, I know one of the emails that I had received was with regard to, the lack of blacktop space, for our students. And I guess that was a discussion that was done prior to me becoming involved in the, committee, due to some, sounds like environmental, constraints. There's only so much blacktop that could be allowed for the project, but we had come up with some ideas about, sectioning off the areas of the parking lot during the school day so that, we can bring in some basketball hoops. So that was another, product in there, so that the students could have more area within the existing blacktops, to utilize outside. Because of the environmental, we have to go by the standards set by the state, and the town, department, conservation department. So there's really no getting around that, but with a little creative thinking and discussion, we did come up with this. And we're going to, we'll be putting on the north end, is that the north end by the side where the is, and, section it off, and it sounds like we got a good plan for now, we'll see how it works, and I guess it could be revisited by, Principal Reed, if it needs, some adjustments need to be made. There was also some concerns about, the material used for the ground of the playground being vandalized. So we talked to our builder, and there's an easy way to fix that. They're going to get the person to come in and give us an estimate, and we're going to go back to, we'll come back to the committee and vote on it. But we used to get the estimate first. This stuff does unfortunately happen, but it can be fixed. We talked about how do we prevent that, or how do we manage that. Talked about cameras, we talked about putting signage up,
Increased police presence.
increased police presence. It's going to take, talk about teaching kids, you see something, say something, because if some of this stuff is happening during school hours, some of it isn't. So it's going to take the community to be involved in this. We have a beautiful new playground, beautiful new school, and if we don't respect what we have, this stuff is going to happen. So it's going to take a village, as they say. So.
Yep, we also had some complaints, not complaints, but concerns about all of the field over on the north side, which is where the softball field used to be. And it was agreed upon that it needs to be kind of redone, because there's too many rocks and junk in that whole area. So we still have a contract with the landscaping company and the contractor that they will be doing they're still under our contract to kind of redo all of that. And then we had concerns about all of the hill near the central office not being mowed, and, just basically all the grassy areas. So again, our OPM said that they would get in touch with the contractor they have in their contract a one mow kind of, just a one mow or?
One mow before we take over the landscaping, but they wanted the green to kind of grow and flourish first before they started to do that one mow. So technically over there, they could do the mow because it hasn't really hasn't grown. We're gonna go and somebody's gonna reseed it, maybe the retailer reseed it and let it regrow. They make a lot of it on black and green pack. They didn't put sprinklers over there because again, in order, something to do with the financial piece of it and the money we get back for the project. So if you didn't water it every day, doesn't get watered regularly, grass will grow. And we had a really dry season. So at the field where it's been seeded, it's been watered and it's growing nicely. So we talk about how's it going to be watered, so I think there's still discussions that the district needs to talk about those things, but they're going to go back and work on the areas that we want.
The playground there, was that was vandalized? Was that?
kids have been picking at the rubber mats. There was, when we walked in last, for the meeting, there was 2 nice sized holes underneath the awning. There's been discussions of kids climbing on top of the awnings. It sounds like they're just not doing what they're supposed to be done. And it's unfortunate because it's, they're nice, but if you don't use them as proper usage of colors, then we're gonna not last as long as it's.
Those slopes are really, I know there's a lot of washouts and stuff, are they fix that before they?
They already did their one mow the next day, so, yeah, I think that's gonna fall on the DPW.
I think that hill, they said that was going to be
Wow.
wildflowers too,
Yeah.
so that was gonna just be
Yeah.
a natural kind of.
I think it was like halfway up would be mowed, and then the rest would be wildflowers, which are germinating and probably gonna do okay on this. Yeah.
Jeff, any question?
I have looked at it, that was good. Last night,
Back to you, go ahead. Not necessarily a question, but, so I know that the brook over here, the Harris Brook, was actually, that was deemed a river by the State Conservation Commission. And I believe so, I believe Dr. Kelleher, when he was here, was talking about that, because we thought it was just a stream, a battling brook kind of thing, but it actually fell into a river category, and that's what is pushing the boundaries of what you could do so much further in.
Yeah.
So right, am I looking at my point to the right
Yes.
side? Yeah, so right over here, I think that fence line goes right to that 100-foot
We're
or
actually over.
a little bit, yeah.
Yeah.
So I know we had to get a bit of a variance from
Yeah.
the Conservation Commission,
Yeah.
but as far as I understand it, what was existing there before can still exist, meaning, we can still mow, we can still have recreation and all that stuff.
But we can't add any more blacktop to what's already out
Yeah.
there because of the river/brook. Yeah, so you have to be 100 feet away from that conservation. So even though the phys ed teachers wanted to add maybe some blacktop out there, we cannot.
Right. And this is your line of work, and you're very familiar with stuff. If it was deemed a stream, it was on like a 25-foot or 50-foot buffer, so we had more leeway. So we remember that was gonna be an issue. But do you know when they're gonna start working on it?
Just for Harrisburg, I don't think it's gonna be
Yeah,
like something that the town plays on or anything.
yeah, I think so. I mean, you'd be hit this building with softballs.
Yeah, I mean, U12 and U8 used to play on it.
Mhm.
Yeah, but I don't think it's doable now, so,
Okay.
yeah. I don't think they said.
They did it, not.
The only reason I ask is that, we got a beautiful school, people drive by and they see that. And they're kind of like, I've heard it before, maybe you have as well too. It's like, oh, they're already letting it go, kind of thing. So, the sooner the better, or at least mowing it, at least. If we get the,
Well, I don't think they want to mow it yet.
No.
I think they would, if I remember correctly, they said the fall, because the fall is when it germinates better, the grass gets better, hold in the soil, so I think they were gonna wait till the fall, so that it had a better chance of successful growing. Because in the summertime, it's too hot, it doesn't take good
Yeah.
hold of the soil, so it's a better chance of it dying, and dying off, because it's so hot.
and there's no irrigation. Yeah. Yeah.
So that was what, I think I remember correctly.
Yeah, I thought so too, yeah.
And then as far as an ongoing maintenance plan, we do have a groundskeeper per se, right? We have somebody that kind of goes around. So what is that person's response? You told me this privately, but you just tell everybody. It's just the field and then the DPW handles other areas that I don't know.
Not the field at all, the field is DPW.
Okay,
Yeah, he is only responsible for the sidewalk in, so really just the closest to the building.
okay.
If he has time to, do the islands, okay, but really, he's only responsible for the in, like, around the building, the bushes. And then again, he has 4 buildings, so high school is huge. That's your biggest project, and then Barry that he uses.
Remember your question?
I do. I've heard a lot of comments, granted, they're just from one person, my daughter, about whether the fields will be ready and available for kids to play on in the fall.
This soccer field will not be, it needs a whole other year of growth. Yeah, so they won't be able to play or anything, and our soccer teams will not be playing on it. Yeah, so, hope, we don't know, we're gonna have to wait for another meeting.
I guess we could either let it come in correctly and have it be nice and full and grow, or we can use it to, prematurely and not have it be a successful field.
These kids have had 2 years at Chapin Street with no field.
Yeah.
Now we're on to like
Yeah, we are looking to purchase some more basketball hoops, and then Mrs. Reed was talking to me today about soccer goals that can be wheeled in and wheeled out, because the ones they have right now, they have to put together, they have to take down, but she has found some that can be wheeled in, wheeled out, so I believe she's gonna go to the building committee and ask for permission to purchase. So that would give more stations, right. And then also the way she is scheduled next year, this is the elementary side, and that is, I believe, for the 4th and 5th graders. She's now going to split it so that elementary, at least, will be able to have both sides when they have recess, due to the scheduling. Not so much 4th and 5th, because that won't sustain 4th and 5th graders out there, but the way she is scheduled, they'll have 2 recesses going at the same time with the younger kids, so you'll have more space.
Great.
Yeah.
And as far as, so we have cameras all over this building, outside the building. So as far as, vandalism taking place, have we determined, is it happening after hours, during school hours? Do we know?
At this point, we don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Mrs. Reed has looked at the cameras to try to see, but, there's so many kids in that area, she couldn't tell. So she thinks it might be happening after school, but when she looks at the camera, she just doesn't know where to start from.
Yeah. Are these cameras hooked into our dispatch facility,
They are not.
in the high school is, I think?
Separate line.
Yeah. Okay, and then, so when the students are out recess, there's a teacher or monitor or somebody.
There's many, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
I guess just
we researched them.
keeping that in.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that to fix the foamy base of it, there is a fix to it?
Yeah.
There's a cost to it, obviously.
Yeah, but they made it sound to be reasonable, like,
Yeah.
it was a simple fix, the color will be the same
Mhm.
and everything.
Color will be very normal, so
You're right.
it's not faded yet. But
Right.
as time goes on, there could be, if it continued wear and tear, that
Yeah.
will change. But as of right now, it's so new that it should blend right into the existing
Mhm.
ground.
We should, does the building committee have a long-term maintenance plan? Because when this does fade, it's gonna need to be replaced. Do we know
So
how many years it goes for?
I know that Dr. Teller had said he wanted to come to the school committee and ask about putting it on line item in the budget for maintenance for the parking and that going to be maintained on a regular basis. So that was something he had brought up. So I believe that's something.
Yeah.
That's coming to the school committee.
Okay, and you said the park attack in this
The
area.
two playgrounds, yes.
Okay. I drive around here a lot, and there's always kids,
All standards.
families around there
Yeah.
too, so that's good. Any other questions? Okay, I don't know if people just want to, we do have a sign-up sheet that you already grabbed, Sue? Okay, did you guys, anybody want to speak, you had a chance to sign up before we came in, so I want to make sure you guys do that before we get to that part of it. So we talked about building, core building committee, surplus inventory, outdated materials. I was just at the food truck Tuesday, and we have all of our English books out there right now, and you can see deemed surplus.
Yep.
And people are taking them, which is pretty cool. This is Lita.
Basically, just on page 5, our family and consumer science teacher, who has been with us for maybe 7 or 8 years, finally went through all of the books that were left from the previous teacher. And you can see there are some 1974, 1976, and it's really just one copy, one copy, one copy. So we will never be using these. These are completely outdated. The very first one, which is applying life skills, we did have one of our teachers take that for our transition room. So she did grab the 24 copies of those. So that can be taken out of the list. But other than that, where it starts from developing child, 2000 down, those are all outdated. Just need a vote to dispose of.
Okay, this is something we do pretty regularly. Any questions? Otherwise, we have a motion to approve the surplus outdated inventory of textbooks from North High School.
I'll make a motion to dispose of the outdated textbooks from the high school.
A second?
I'll second that.
Okay, any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, request for field trip. So we haven't, because of COVID, we haven't done one of these in a long time, a field trip. There hasn't been any field trip, so Just so the public knows, if you're watching, school committee does, all field trips have to come through us. So this is our first field trip request in probably 2 years. So this is a request from the Ludlow High School cheer team to attend a trip to Pine Forest VCA
Varsity cheer.
Varsity Cheer
Okay.
Academy cheer camp in Greeley, Pennsylvania, August 26th through the 29th, 2022.
And just to clarify, if it's overnight, it needs to be approved by school committee just
Yeah.
for some of our new members. So not all need to come to school committee. But this one, our family consumer science teacher is actually our cheerleading coach, and she has done a great job increasing enrollment over the past year. So being in the school is vital to any advisor, and she really has increased our numbers drastically. So herself was a cheerleader throughout, I believe, high school and maybe in college. So she's very well knowledgeable about what it takes to have a competition cheer team, which is what we have, but she's looking to take it to the next level. So she would like to take them to cheer camp. I always relate it to band camp, where you go a couple days and you just learn from the best, and it's just a great opportunity for our cheerleaders to be with other cheerleaders from different parts of the state and different states, and it's only $300. So they will fundraise for themselves, they will get their own rides there because their parents are invited at the last day for a demonstration cheer competition, quote unquote. So parents will drop them off, parents will pick them up, and they're just asking for permission to go. It does not interfere with school. Schools start 2 days later, I believe. Yes, 2 days later.
So is this for the cost of the shop for
The cost per student is $300,
Okay.
and it includes all food and activities and other events. I know it's in here somewhere.
And that's the transportation. How are they getting there?
Their parents.
Parents are getting out to Pennsylvania?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
So they would just, they're just for permission from us to go?
Yeah, that's all. Yeah, I mean, pretty standard, like I said, we haven't done this in 2 years. So we
Right.
haven't had practice from doing it, but pretty standard from what we've done in the past. Usually if it's one of those day trips, there's a nurse that has to go along, that's not going to be the case. I did just look at the form that they have, and they obviously have medical facilities there. Cheerleading is actually a pretty intense sport, it really is, it's like gymnastics.
Yeah.
So, any discussion? Motion?
Motion to approve the cheerleaders trip to cheer camp.
Motion made second. All right, any discussion, hearing, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Okay. Old business, financial update. Chris is here for his update for us, ready to the end, close to the end of the year here.
Sure, it's through yesterday, and as you can see by the end of the report, we're pretty much winding down with FY '22 funds, which is really where we should be. I mean, it looks a little scary when we're down to, just several $1,000s left, but, that's pretty much what we expect to do every year. And we'll see how things basically work out in the last couple of days. There are a number of outstanding purchase orders and things like that we're still chasing down to see if they're necessary or not, but it's usually a pretty hectic time in June and July just in cleaning up the fiscal year. That's what we're working on now, and we'll have it all ready to go, in a couple of weeks. And if anybody has any questions about any specific lines or anything, but I can answer whatever you might have.
Any questions? He did send it out to us yesterday, or a couple days ago, I guess. You look at it, prepare for the meeting, and it is, it's like looking at a science project, it's just so vast, it's so large, and there's so much to it. I can say that, so the House and the Senate have not come out of conference committee yet with their final budget, so we're waiting for that. And it's supposed to be done by the end of the fiscal year, so it's supposed to, tomorrow or so. So that's when we'll really find out what's coming down through Chapter 70, because again, we base our numbers off of the governor's House 1 budget, which comes out in January, and typically those are more conservative numbers. And so we'll see what happens there. So we will have a further discussion with the Board of Selectmen, because, we still have positions that are on the table, or that, are being cut. And if there's any way we can scrap and crawl and pull some more funds in, then superintendent and principals can make that decision as to what's going to come back. So there's still a little bit of light at the end of the tunnel. We're hoping that will come in some way, and we'll know more then. But that's a little bit separate than what, financial report. Any questions for Chris regarding finances? Okay, it's a very busy time of year for the, business office for sure. And there's, we talked about this every year too, there's a certain percentage that gets carried into the next fiscal year because, it's encumbered but not spent yet, is that correct, Chris?
Yeah, I mean, typically they put in a purchase order and that encumbers the funds, it basically holds it to be spent for that particular item. What the challenge is sometimes these items are discontinued or out of stock for many months, and that's when we need to chase them down and see, do we really need this still encumbered, or can we close it out? And that affects the bottom line number, so it's, there's a lot of encumbrances in the level of budget, as I've learned every year, so it's a lot of work to chase them down, but we've gotten it down from many pages to just a few pages, so we're getting there, and, that determines how much money we have left to spend, and we use it accordingly, so. It's typically about a month and a half project that's been running through all of the purchase orders. That's pretty much, we're right on target. So.
Yeah. Are you, Lisa, are you still running into a lot of supply chain issues? Were you trying to build up, whether it's cleaning materials or anything like that? Any issues like that?
No, more technology issues.
Yeah.
Still waiting on some
Oh.
Chromebooks, I think, and projectors. Yeah, Mickey's still waiting on projectors. Mickey's still waiting on seats that go in there. So it's been a year. We're supposed to have booths.
In this little cove right
Yeah,
here?
we're supposed to have booths.
Oh, really?
Yeah, just technology, really.
Okay. So what happens in that case? So the building committee is still in existence, so the OPM is still there, we still have a contract. They're still responsible for putting these things. We don't close this out until.
Correct. Right. They said if it gets much longer, then we have to go back and say, should we just close out the order and looks different, and try to purchase something different? So that's a decision, again, that will be made in the next 3 to 6 months.
Yeah. Anything in central office that you're running into, building wise?
Our camera system to allow people to come in to the building. We have a makeshift one right now, so we're still waiting on parts for that. I think that's it.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Any questions? Thank you for the financial update. All right, public comment. Megan Hogan.
I actually don't, I just was afraid if I didn't put
Just
my
in
name
case.
down and I had something to say, I wouldn't be able to talk.
Okay.
Did I miss though, was the decision made, maybe I missed it in the Facebook world, about, the change in music teacher positions for next year?
You want to public comment?
Yeah.
You're the boss, you make the decision.
Then
Well,
I have no comment.
okay. So yes, the positions have been, they're going to remain where they are. All the teachers that were teaching music in certain schools are going to be coming back in the fall in those same positions.
Okay, thank you. And maybe this isn't the right time, is there a time that the public is going to be able to meet the new superintendent?
Oh, absolutely, the next meeting.
Oh,
Yeah,
perfect.
yeah, for sure. So during the interview process, he was, we announced and introduced him, but yeah, he'll be starting July 1st, so July 19th will be his first meeting.
Okay.
So, for
Thank
sure.
you.
Right. Rick Robar.
So you stay here or you want to?
Sure, you can stand if you want. You want to be seen and-
Not for too much on it, right?
He said I was the boss.
Oh, yeah. These carpets are quite something. They're very, very colorful, Mr. Chairman.
Here they are.
Yeah, very, very colorful.
Okay, thank you for
Stay
coming
here,
here.
though.
Appreciate that.
I assume they don't stay here.
No, they've got.
No, these are for each classroom. They're
All
here
right,
each
from the
year.
classroom.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Very, very.
I kind of like it.
Yeah.
It actually
The
helps you.
cafeteria.
It helps your acoustics out.
Just a couple of comments. One is I feel bad for all of you who are here, and this doesn't say a lot for our town, so if there are people watching, I'm hoping that more people get involved. It's kind of crazy, This is what more people here at the school community. It's kind of sad. Doesn't say anything about you. It says a lot about the parents and the people in the town, and it doesn't show the teachers and administrators that but this is a joke. But my comment tonight is the following. As I continue to do my research and work behind the scenes, I continue to find very, very disturbing information. Information that is as bad as what you're seeing nationally. I strongly believe there's sexual exploitation of our children going on in every school in this town. I won't stop. I will soon seek legal advice, try to get lawyers to work with me. I vow doing my work. This isn't any kind of threat, but I'm not going to sit down and be quiet. Our school system is in trouble. There's a lot of things going on that should not be going on. The people with Ludlow don't know what's going on. Selectmen don't know what's going on. Many of the parents, unfortunately, don't know. But it's going to be brought to light. And we're going to have to deal with it as a town. And let the consequences fall where they may. There's some people that are doing some horrible things in our school. I call it sexual exploitation. And I'm not about to sit down. You poke the papa bear, and there's some mama bears too that are involved. And we're just gonna keep finding, and when we have what we need, when we have the facts, we'll bring it forward in a very, very, very public way. It's time for things to get cleaned up. It's time for this committee to get serious. Start listening and seeing, and opening your eyes and ears, and asking questions. Because you're not doing enough of that. Because if you were doing that, you'd be hearing a lot of what I'm hearing. It's disturbing. It's disgusting. Some of it's illegal. We have sexual exploitation occurring in every school in the town of Lebanon. Proof will be coming soon. And all of you are going to have a responsibility and have to answer to the town, to the citizens. Now, this is kind of pathetic, but they'll wake up. They'll wake up when they start to hear this.
Thank you. That's all we have for public comment. So we're going to, we'll finish up at least. So we don't have our student rep here tonight, that's not here. So, Jeff, you want to go first?
Sure. It sounds like at the risk of turning this into a back and forth, it's that there is well. It's my opinion that these stories of sexual exploitation are vague and threatening. I heard that in comment. To say that isn't a threat is incorrect. That's absolutely a threat. This talk of lawyers and such, and proof coming to light, why not address things as they're happening instead of waiting for things to become a giant mushroom cloud? I feel like the teachers are doing a wonderful job in this school district. There are things that can be fixed, I'm sure, but these stories of a school district in decline or in disarray, I think are false. And if there is proof out there, bring it forward, and we can work on it. But I have not heard these things, and I'm not sure I believe you. The other comment I'd just like to make is that I'd like to thank Superintendent Nemeth for her work over the last year. It was a very challenging year. Lots of hard decisions had to be made. Not all of them everybody agreed with, clearly. But thank you for all the work you did. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Mr. Stratton.
As far as Rick's comments, I agree with a lot of what he said. I've been involved with this for quite a few years. And we have a group of parents that have been trying to get this out there, to get parents to see what's happening, and they all have silence. So, yeah, there's a lot going on. A lot of people don't know about it, and it will come away. And we'll just see what happens. But I'm just gonna leave that there. I'm a happy note, the food truck thing is cool, I went last week, and food is always great. It's a great, I don't know who came up with that idea, and I didn't even really know about it until I happened to come home from work and stopped in, and it's a fundraiser for what
The Lions Den Athletic Association.
so that gets split out to everybody, or is it each one's for a separate?
No, it's one big account.
So it's one big
Yeah.
town, so
Yeah.
that's great. And it must be doing okay, because it was packed last week, and it's packed again this week, and it's really a lot.
We hope there's not.
There's some left. Yes, that's it.
Sarah?
I think we throw around the word child exploitation. I see child exploitation in my job. Child exploitation is a very strong word. Do people think that there is things wrong in the school district? I've heard that people think there are things wrong in the school district. Do I think we have child exploitation going on in the school district? Absolutely not. I could tell you stories of child exploitation, and I think that that's the wrong word to use when we are talking about the concerns that parents have within our district. I think we need to be very careful with the words we throw out, because they are, child exploitation is around here, but it's not in our district. We're not selling our children into sex trafficking. That's child exploitation. So I think we need to be very careful on the words we say. Are the parents that are concerned about books? Absolutely. Are there concerns about people with pronouns and with feeling that there are people that are swaying their kids into one sexuality versus another? Absolutely. But that is, again, not sexual exploitation. So I think we just really need to be concerned about the way we use the words that we use. The other thing that I want to bring up is that I've had a number of parents approach me with regard to meetings and the books that have been being read. And I'm going to just, I told someone I bring this up, I have no control over what happens within our meetings. It's public comment is allowed for you to say what you want to say, but when you're wanting books removed from the library with certain context in them, and then you come to a public forum where there are children sitting within the audience, and you are reading those openly, and the same things you don't want, today there's no children here, but the same words you don't want those children to read, you're now reading them out loud like it's an audible, parents are concerned. So I told a parent I would bring it up, that I brought it up. So that is the concern, that it's almost hypocritical, that you don't want your children in the district to read the books, but you're now reading it for them. So I wanted to bring it up because it was asked of me to bring it up to the public. Lisa, it's not goodbye. We'll see you when you're coming here for a decision. But thank you. It's been a pleasure working with you, and for the last year and so on. And you will be missed.
Thank you.
Having another female person.
You got Sue, you're down. Right? Did it? Very good. I'm gonna focus on this.
No.
Listen, we have our battles, we really do, and then, there's like, sometimes there's this natural tension that happens between school committees and superintendents or school committees and boards of selectmen. And we have our disagreements, but I can say this, she's very professional, you've always been very, very professional. I've never walked away thinking like, oh geez, I can't call her tomorrow because, whatever, whether it's in public or in private, we have our disagreements. But I always feel like you pick the phone next day and be like, hey, what about blah, blah, blah? And you've always been incredibly professional. It's not, as you know now, a superintendent position is not easy, even in the most idealistic community. We have our real big challenges right now. So you do deserve a lot of credit for, it's been a tough year. Dr. Gaza, when he left, he kind of left pretty quickly and kind of handed you this ball of fire that was, between COVID and issues that we're dealing with, masking and vaccines. I mean, oh my God, right? I mean, that was a tough baton to pick up and carry forward, but you did it. And I've known you for a long time, and I really appreciate the work that you've done over the year. And to Sarah's point, you're not going away. You will be back here. And I think it's going to be nice that you and Frank have developed this relationship, so that Dr. Tiano, when he gets here as our superintendent, that I'm sure he's going to pick up the phone and be like, hey, what's this all about? What's going on here? So you fill him in, and then he'll kind of get his feet under take the ball from there. So I do, on behalf of the committee, the parents, the teachers, thank you for the year that you put in here. It's been tough. I do appreciate it. And again, don't agree with everything, and that's fine. And that's how it goes. I didn't agree with Todd on everything. I'm not going to agree with Frank on everything. And that's good. That's why you have a school committee where you have the liaisons from the community to the administration and to the school district, and that's our job. If it was rubber stamping, then there's no point in having a school committee. So we'll continue to have those things, but it's always been done very respectfully and very professionally. So I appreciate that. I really do. So thank you very much. That's all I have.
Okay.
Steve, it's your turn.
Okay. Well, I did talk to Dr. Tiano, and the first thing he said was, "What's up with Chip Harrington?"
A lot of people say that.
He did not. Of course, I want to, thank everybody, and just, you keep saying it's a tough year. I was thinking this morning, like, why does everyone keep saying that? But when I, kind of write it down, it's, we opened this Harrisbrook brand new school, so that's exciting. But then it came to reality that we had to close, 2 buildings. Chapin was already closed, but then we had to close Betts Park. We had and liquidate everything, and then also close central office. So there were many weekends and days that we were trying to get rid of that stuff. So that was kind of how the year began. Then, of course, we had, you kind of forget that all the students were masked when they came back, and we were dealing with kids trying to take off their masks, leave their masks on. How are we doing vaccines? How are we doing COVID testing? What about pool testing? Like, all of that was still, a huge issue. We then went into, like we all know, our big budget crisis with only a 1% increase from the town, and we went back and forth, lots of meetings with the town and the administrators. During all that, we settled 5 contracts, which is unheard of usually for a superintendent to have so many, but no, nothing bad to say against Todd, but he thought putting them all in one would be good. But then he left before he actually had to do that. So that's not a good idea, but we had 5 contracts, and the school committee did settle those, so thank you for that. And then we had shift in administration. So we had, one of our administrators leave mid-year, and Mrs. Knowles volunteered to take over that building, which was very difficult, very challenging to try to be in 2 places at once. Even though she kind of morphed more to Baird, she still had her hand here, so that's a very difficult thing. So kudos to Mrs. Knowles for that. Looking over, I think our goal for next year and for the superintendent is just academics, to get our kids back on track to, high expectations and focusing back that school is for learning. It's not just social, but it should be for learning and pursuing careers and college or whatever it may be. So hopefully we can rally our team back together along with the teachers to say, we're here for teaching, learning, academics, and social, but more get that focus back for the kids. Huge kudos to, I just want to thank publicly, Dr. Kelleher. I know he's not here anymore, but it was really a pleasure working with him, learning from him. Mr. Desjardins. Yeah, so I, just want to thank him. Incredible to work with him and learn all the budgets, ins and outs, and shifting and grants and everything. He was just paramount to the success this year. Even though he's only part-time with the district, he is so valuable. So Mrs. Demeritus has huge shoes to fill, and this is Chris's last meeting also, so we're going to miss him terribly. At least I will, and I won't be seeing him next year because he won't be with Local Public School. So I want to thank him. I really learned a lot from him too. And also Ms. Santos, can't go without saying Ms. Santos. She's the right-hand woman in the job, no matter who sits here, whether it be Dr. Gasser or Dr. Tiano. If something needs to be done, Sue knows it, and she is steering the ship. Do not believe the superintendent is steering the ship. It is Sue Santos. So she deserves all the kudos too. But yes, like you said, I will be, stepping back to high school. I, again, have one foot already in there. We're doing summer school and hiring, and we need new assistant principals. So I've been kind of working both jobs the last week or two. But I'm very excited to get back to high school with the kids and the staff, and just the energy that comes from any school building in any district. So I think you'll all see great things next year. I think we'll get back to more normalcy than we have in the past. That is it. Thank you all, and there better be some lobster rolls though.
Well, thank you, and I apologize, Chris, I actually thought you were gonna be at the next meeting, so I was holding my comments till then, but, so, this is your kind of meeting with us as well, too, even though you're sort of being a bit of a consultant, or you're reaching out, is that true? We're gonna be using this.
If need be, yep.
So if anybody, for people who don't know, so the school district always had a business manager for many, many years. Most school districts do. They're very hard to come by because it's a very specialty. It's school, education, and financing all in one. There's not a lot of people that do that. So when our business manager, she left, we're going back several years now. Is it before you? Yes, exactly. When she had left, we were kind of like in this world of like, what do we do? And then Chris and his team came through. So they're a consultant, but they're here, as Lisa said, kind of part-time. And really the benefit is, we don't have to pay benefits and health insurance, things like that. It's a savings to the town, but you still get the real quality services. And people don't know this, but you're still on your school committee in your hometown as well too, right? So, yeah, so he's kind of got the whole package. He really does. He brings the whole package to the table. So it's been great in my tenure to have gone from what we had before to, it was such a smooth transition. You know what? I don't do this often, but I'm gonna give Teresa Camp a lot of credit because she's the one that came up with with working with you guys, and it was a real smart move. Her husband was a business manager in Ludlow for a long time, John Kane. So she certainly knew that world. So Teresa deserves a lot of credit for reaching out and understanding that this is a way to go. And again, it was a good move for the district, good move for the town in general to do that. So thank you for all the work that you've done. I know he sends us the budget, and if I showed you guys the budget, it's like looking at a science project. It's just huge, and you've got to be a real numbers person to get it. I just look at the final number and like, okay, there's still money in the account, and we make sure that that's the case. So thank you very much. So actually, I'll give you the final word if you want.
Oh, I've enjoyed my time here, and I wish everybody the best of luck. That's really all I have to say.
Thank you very much. All right, so that's going to do it for our meeting. Do we have a need for executive?
No, we did not.
Nice. Okay. Is there a motion to adjourn? Second. All in favor? We are adjourned.
Big fan.
Tell me we don't have that.